Samuel had always been a man of ambition. In his bustling city life, he worked tirelessly at his job, climbed the corporate ladder, and accumulated all the symbols of success: luxury cars, a grand home, and admiration from colleagues. But despite all the accomplishments, Samuel felt an unsettling emptiness. No matter how much he achieved, an inner voice gnawed at him, whispering that something crucial was missing. This void, this restlessness, haunted him during quiet moments. Samuel tried everything to fill it: travel, new hobbies, parties, and even meditation retreats, but nothing seemed to provide lasting peace. The more he searched for answers outside himself, the more frustrated he became. He could no longer ignore the feeling that, though he was winning the world, he was losing himself. One night, after another day of endless meetings and responsibilities, Samuel sat alone on his balcony, staring into the city skyline. The silence was heavy, pressing on his heart. His thoughts spiraled deeper into the loneliness he felt. Then, his mind drifted back to an old story his grandmother had once told him, a tale of a wise monk who lived in the mountains and was said to hold the secret to inner peace. Samuel had dismissed the story as a child's fable back then, but now, it called to him. Maybe, just maybe, the answers he sought lay in that mountain monastery. On an impulse, he packed his bags and left the city without telling anyone. He didn't know what he would find, but something in his heart urged him to go. The journey to the monastery was long and grueling. Samuel had to trek through forests, cross rivers, and navigate steep cliffs. Each step seemed harder than the last, as if the path was testing his resolve. Exhausted and covered in dust, he finally reached the foot of the mountain where the ancient monastery stood. The monastery itself was simple and unadorned. No signs of grandeur or opulence. The wise monk, who had seen countless pilgrims come and go, welcomed Samuel with a warm but knowing smile. Samuel wasted no time and poured out his heart, explaining his struggle to find peace despite all the success he had achieved. The monk listened patiently and then offered Samuel a bed for the night. "Rest first," he said, "and we will talk in the morning." Samuel lay on the hard mattress, tossing and turning. He had traveled all this way, and the monk hadn't given him a single word of advice. The next morning, after a simple meal of rice and tea, the monk took Samuel to a tranquil garden behind the monastery. They walked in silence for what felt like hours, the crisp mountain air carrying the scent of blooming flowers. Finally, Samuel couldn't contain himself any longer. "I came all this way to seek peace, but you've told me nothing. Is there really a secret, or is this all just a waste of time?" The monk turned to him, his eyes filled with a quiet understanding. "Tell me, Samuel, when you were climbing the mountain to get here, where was your focus?" Samuel hesitated. "On the summit. I kept looking up, thinking about when I would finally reach this place." The monk nodded. "And in doing so, you missed the beauty of the journey, the sound of the river, the shade of the trees, the songs of the birds. Peace, Samuel, does not exist at the end of the path. It is found in every step you take, but only if you are present enough to notice it." Samuel was taken aback. He had been so focused on finding an answer that he hadn't even considered the journey itself. But still, a part of him wasn't satisfied. "So, you're saying I just need to be more mindful?" The monk smiled gently. "You are seeking peace as if it's something to be captured or attained, but the truth is, peace is already within you. It has always been there. The problem is not that it's missing, it's that you've buried it under layers of ambition, fear, and expectation. The words hit Samuel like a wave. He had been searching outside for something that had been inside him all along. But then the monk added, "There is one more thing. Come with me." They entered a small room inside the monastery where a single mirror stood. "Look into this mirror," the monk instructed. Samuel did as told, but all he saw was his own reflection, tired and weathered from the journey. "Look deeper," the monk urged. Samuel stared harder, and as he did, he felt a shift. The reflection in the mirror blurred, and for the first time, he truly saw himself, not the successful businessman, not the driven achiever, but the simple human being beneath it all. In that moment, all the noise in his mind faded, and for the first time in years, Samuel felt an overwhelming sense of peace. The monk's voice broke the silence. "You see, peace was never lost. You simply forgot how to see it." Samuel smiled, his heart lighter than it had ever been. He had come seeking an external solution but discovered that the journey within was the true path to peace.